Most people are taught to manifest incorrectly. A subtle, powerful flaw traps generations in endless cycles, waiting, scripting, visualizing, hoping. Months, even years pass, and the shift they crave never arrives. The strangest part, manifestation works. They just do it too slowly, not by choice, but by design. Hidden within popular teachings is a seductive lie. You must think about your desire long enough, visualize it clearly enough, repeat it consistently enough. Then, eventually, reality will rearrange itself. It sounds reasonable, even empowering, but look closer. Find a dangerous assumption embedded, one that quietly programs your nervous system for delay, for effort, for distance. That assumption, what I desire is not here yet. I must do something to get it. The moment you accept this, you're cut off from quantum truth. Define your desire as separate from now, as something to arrive, appear, or be earned, and you collapse yourself into a timeline where it simply isn't. You reinforce the illusion of future, of a gap, of not yet. You unknowingly vibrate at the frequency of absence. This is why manifestation often feels slow. It's not reality resisting you. It's you energizing the version of yourself still waiting, believing time and effort bridge the gap between who you are and what you want. But the quantum field doesn't operate on time. It operates on coherence. Coherence demands alignment, not effort. The more you try, the more clearly you declare, "This is not yet mine." Visualizing it in the future trains your nervous system to expect its absence in the present. This deception even becomes spiritualized. Trust divine timing, they say. Be patient. It's coming. Keep the faith. But in quantum reality, time isn't a delivery system. Time is a mirror. It reflects back the frequency you broadcast now. Not your intentions, vision boards, or journal entries, only your now signal. If that signal is loaded with desire, urgency, or anticipation, then what collapses into form is more of that energy, more things to desire, anticipate, or wait for. This is the core misalignment. You are not here to chase reality. You are here to collapse it. Collapsing reality is not a future process, it is a present phenomenon. Manifestation was never a technique, it was always a remembering. An act of frequency precision, a vibrational identity so clear, so consistent, that the universe has no choice but to mirror it instantly. When your inner world becomes identical to your desired timeline, the field must respond. That isn't magic, that's physics. But most people never reach that state, not because they can't, but because they're caught in the trap of becoming. The endless self-improvement loop, the quiet belief they must earn their breakthrough. Every time they manifest with that energy, they activate the timeline where the shift hasn't happened yet. It's the frequency of almost, almost there, almost ready, almost worthy. But the field doesn't respond to almost, it responds to embodiment. Here's what most won't tell you. Truly understand how the quantum field works, and you realize there is nothing to attract. You're not a magnet pulling things toward you. You're a tuner locking into an existing frequency. Once locked in, what matches must appear. Not over time, but in alignment. Alignment happens faster than time. This is why manifestation feels slow when taught incorrectly and impossibly fast when embodied correctly. The shift isn't in how long you've been doing the work. It's in how clearly you are broadcasting the reality you say you believe in. Most people try to become magnetic, but the truth is you already are. The only question, what frequency are you stabilizing? If it's lack, expect more reasons to need. If it's effort, expect more things to push through. If it's embodiment, expect instant feedback loops of alignment. Here's the radical realization. You don't need more power to manifest faster. You just need to stop energizing the version of you who believes it takes time. Time is not the gap between intention and outcome. It's the measure of how long your vibration contradicts your desire. Once that contradiction ends, reality bends. So the real question is no longer, how do I manifest what I want? The question is, why am I still believing I have to wait? Dissolve that belief, and speed increases. Not because you're rushing, but because reality has nothing left to delay against. You are being the version where it already has. That is faster than thought. We've been taught to view reality as external, outside of us, unfolding according to fixed laws and linear time. But quantum physics, understood beyond equations and into consciousness, reveals something radically different, far more empowering. Reality doesn't unfold, it collapses. It collapses in direct response to the observer, to you. Not the thinking, wishing, or hoping version, but the one broadcasting right now, a frequency so coherent, so congruent with a particular possibility, that the quantum field has no option to organize itself around it. This is the quantum shortcut. It defies linear manifestation models, removing the process entirely. It bypasses time, it collapses distance, it turns potential into form, not through effort, but through energetic dominance. The reality you experience is not built slowly. It is being selected instantly, over and over, based on your vibration. What most people don't see, the field doesn't wait for you to get ready. It collapses based on what you observe. Observation in the quantum sense isn't about looking, it's about being. This is why timelines are so fluid. You are not walking through time like a passenger. You are collapsing time like a conductor. Every emotion, belief, subtle signal your body emits collapses probabilities, infinite ones, into one singular expression, your now. Most people engage with reality as if it's rigid, fixed, slow. They say, I'm working toward it, or it's coming. But what's actually happening, they observe a version of themselves that doesn't yet have it, locking that in day after day with their focus. You are not waiting for reality to catch up. Reality is waiting for your frequency to stabilize. The moment it does, the shortcut activates. Nothing in the quantum field is truly far. Everything exists as overlapping waveforms, as possibilities. These waveforms wait to be collapsed by coherent observation. The cleaner your signal, the faster the collapse. This is not a metaphor. In double-slit experiments, electrons behave differently depending on observation. Unobserved, they exist in superposition, many potential states at once. But when observed, they choose, they lock into form. That form is influenced not just by measurement, but by expectation, which means what you expect collapses into what you get. This is why most people collapse what they fear. Fear is a powerful observer. It's focused, charged, repetitive. It floods the body with signals that shout, "This is my reality." And so the field agrees. It collapses danger, delay, disappointment. Not because the universe punishes you, but because it responds with perfect precision to your vibration. You are not manifesting outcomes, you are manifesting certainty. The field responds not to desire, but to dominance. Whichever emotional frequency is dominant, that becomes your world. This is the shortcut, but it requires letting go of mental frameworks that seek to control it. Try to manipulate the field with thought alone, and you introduce interference. You split your signal. You say one thing while vibrating another. The field, faithful to frequency, collapses what you are, not what you say. To use this shortcut, you must become the observer who doesn't observe for proof, but who observes from knowing. This is the subtle difference between aligned vision and hopeful projection. Aligned vision feels complete, grounded, inevitable. It doesn't ask when. It doesn't scan for signs. It simply knows. And that knowing creates gravitational collapse. The wave becomes particle. The potential becomes form. The imagined becomes memory. This makes quantum manifestation not only faster, but timeless. The moment you exit the logic of time-based manifestation and enter frequency congruence, the universe ceases to delay. It mirrors instantly. If it doesn't feel instant yet, it's not because the field is slow. It's because your signal is inconsistent. So your task is not to force reality to move faster. Your task is to become so singular in your frequency, so clear in your energetic identity, that there is no alternative for the field to collapse but the one you've chosen. This is how reality shortcuts time. Not by rewarding effort, but by obeying coherence. And the fastest way to reach coherence isn't by thinking your way into a new frequency. It's by feeling it fully, vividly, repeatedly, until your body believes it's real, until your breath stabilizes it, until your choices flow from it, until it becomes so embodied that the very idea of waiting feels irrelevant. Because when you stop waiting, things stop taking time. In that moment, you no longer walk toward your future, you collapse into it. If thoughts alone created reality, your life would already look like your vision board. You've imagined it, repeated it, written it, seen it in your mind 1,000 times. Yet for many, changes remain subtle, slow, incomplete. This isn't because you're doing it wrong. It's because you've been misled about what actually collapses reality. It's not the thought, it's the frequency beneath it. The quantum field doesn't speak in words. It doesn't interpret mantras or understand affirmations. It responds only to energetic coherence. That coherence is generated by emotion. Not just any emotion, but the one that vibrates consistently in the background of your being, whether you're thinking about your dream or not. This is the hidden mechanism behind accelerated manifestation. The field responds to your dominant state, not your conscious intention. You can script abundance every morning, but if the rest of your day is saturated with anxiety, the field will mirror anxiety. You can visualize love and meditation, but if your nervous system still expects abandonment, the field will reinforce that frequency. This is not punishment, it's precision. The quantum field is perfect in its accuracy. It reflects what you are broadcasting, not what you're requesting. And what you are broadcasting moment to moment is emotional. This is why transformation happens faster when you feel it first, because emotion carries the signal. It's the carrier wave that imprints your reality. While thoughts might set the direction, it is emotion that provides the voltage. No voltage, no signal. No signal, no collapse. So the key isn't to think better, it's to feel clearer. The body doesn't wait for external proof. It responds instantly to internal instruction. And emotion is the most powerful instruction you can give your field. That's why a single moment of sincere gratitude can collapse more reality than weeks of mental repetition. That's why a deep breath taken in full trust can open timelines that effort could never reach. Emotion is the language of collapse. But here's the part most people miss. Emotion is not a reaction. It's a choice. It's not just something that happens after you get what you want. It's something you must generate before. Not as a performance, not as a trick, but as a signal, a declaration. It's the vibrational signature of the version of you who already has what you're calling in. Because that version, the one who lives in your desired reality, doesn't just think differently. They feel differently. Their nervous system is relaxed. Their posture is open. Their voice is steady. Their frequency is consistent. Not because their environment made it that way, but because they made a choice to align with the feeling first. And this is the secret to speed. Manifestation becomes slow when emotion is conditional. When you say, "I'll feel abundant once the money comes," or "I'll feel loved when the relationship appears," you place your signal downstream from reality. But in quantum manifestation, the signal comes first, and the collapse follows. So the question is not, "What do I want?" The question is, what emotion aligns with that reality? And am I willing to generate it now, unconditionally? This doesn't mean faking it.
It means practicing emotional congruence. It means shifting your breathing, regulating your heart, moving your body with the confidence of someone who trusts the field. Speaking as if it's already done, not because you're forcing belief, but because you've surrendered the doubt. And that surrender, that's not weakness, it's power. In the absence of emotional interference, the field can finally respond. This is why people who know nothing about manifestation often manifest effortlessly. They feel safe, open, expectant. Their nervous system is aligned. Their field is clean. They're not trying, they're being. And being, when emotionally coherent, is the fastest form of creation. But this speed isn't intensity, it's consistency. You don't have to feel joy at full volume all day long. You simply need to return to the emotion of your desired timeline more often than you return to fear. Each time you do, you reinforce the signal. You instruct your cells. You train your subconscious. You attune your vibration. Eventually, the tipping point comes. The emotion becomes the baseline, and the field responds with new form, new opportunities, new synchronicities, new physical reflections of your internal shift. You realize it was never about doing more. It was about feeling differently, faster, deeper. Because emotion bypasses logic. It rewires the brain. It creates coherence between heart and mind. And coherence, not concentration, is what makes manifestation instant. So if you want speed, forget the spreadsheet of techniques. Forget the timeline. Forget the question, how long will it take? Ask instead, how fully can I feel it now? Because the moment your emotion matches the memory of the future, the field can't tell the difference. When the field can't tell the difference, reality collapses fast. Most people treat their body like a passenger in the manifestation process, a silent observer of the mind's desires. But in truth, the body is not a passive container. It is the field's loudest voice. It is the antenna, the transmitter, and the proof of coherence, or the absence of it. Until the body believes what the mind envisions, there is no signal clear enough for the field to obey. This is why some people do everything right in their manifestation practice, the journaling, the visualizing, the gratitude lists, and still feel nothing shifting. Beneath all the rituals, their nervous system is still vibrating the same old story. Their posture still reflects waiting. Their breath still echoes fear. Their voice still carries a subtle tremble of unworthiness. The field listens not to what you're saying, but to what you're embodying, because the field responds faster to embodiment than to any thought. Your timeline, the version of reality you wish to experience, is not something you move toward. It is something you step into vibrationally, by becoming the version of yourself who already lives there. That version doesn't exist in your head. It exists in your spine, in your heartbeat, in your chemistry. It's a full body broadcast. When that broadcast is clean, the shift happens fast. Faster than logic, faster than strategy, faster than doubt can argue with it. But embodiment isn't about acting. It's not about faking it until you make it.
It's about feeling it until it becomes real. Not out there, but in here. In your cells, in your tone, in the way you sit, stand, speak, move, breathe. The moment your body begins to behave as if the future is already here, the field begins collapsing that version into form. This is not wishful thinking. This is entrainment. In physics, when two oscillating systems interact, the one with the stronger, more stable frequency pulls the other into synchronization. This is exactly what happens when you embody your chosen timeline. You become the dominant frequency. Your external reality, always listening, begins to reorganize itself to match. But here's the trap. Most people are still waiting for permission. They want to feel successful, but only once the business works. They want to feel loved, but only once someone chooses them. They want to feel free, but only when the bank account is full. Their body remains loyal to the past. Their timeline stays anchored in absence. Their field reflects what's familiar, not what's possible. The shift happens when you decide to reverse the order. Feel it now and let the external follow. This is not delusion. This is instruction. You are instructing the field with every signal you send. When you choose to relax into peace before the evidence arrives, you are collapsing a reality where peace is no longer dependent on conditions. When you open your chest and breathe as if everything is working in your favor, you are signaling to the field, this is already true for me. When you move with certainty, you collapse uncertainty. When you act from joy, you dissolve the waiting room of when. Embodiment is the end of hoping. It's the end of performance. It's the beginning of vibrational integrity. When your behavior reflects your belief without contradiction, the speed at which reality bends is shocking. You stop needing to chase anything. You realize the version of you who was always trying is no longer present. In their absence, space opens for something new. That something is not found in the mind. It's found in the body. The way you wake up, the way you take up space, the way you say yes without flinching. The way you hold yourself, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Because you are no longer manifesting the timeline. You are living it. Every second your body remains in that state, your field stabilizes, your magnetism increases, the delay dissolves, and the gap between inner and outer closes with stunning speed. So here's your checkpoint. A declaration not to an algorithm, but to yourself. Speed is a state of being. Say it as a code, a reminder that what collapses reality is not your effort, your hours, or your affirmations, but the energy you choose to embody in this moment. Because this moment is the manifestation. And if you can feel it now, then it's already here. We've been conditioned to think of manifestation as a forward motion, as if we're always moving towards something out there, beyond this moment, waiting to be earned, summoned, or attracted. But in quantum reality, nothing could be further from the truth. You're not walking toward your future. Your future is collapsing into you. Understand this, and everything changes. Because the future doesn't need your effort. It doesn't require your constant mental rehearsals. What it needs is resonance. A vibrational match so clear that the timeline you're calling in has no choice but to pull you toward itself. It becomes like a gravitational field. Not one you generate, but one you align with. The future version of you who already has it all is not ahead of you in time. It is surrounding you in potential. The moment your frequency aligns with that version, you feel it. A shift not in the outer world, but in the inner compass of your being. You're not chasing anymore. You're being pulled. This is reverse manifesting. Not because it goes backward, but because it inverts the illusion of control. It shows you that the fastest path to your future is surrender, not force. Presence, not projection. Identity, not desire. Imagine this. There is a version of you that already exists, living in the exact reality you've been trying to create. That version breathes differently, walks differently, thinks from completion, feels from peace, decides from knowing. And that version is sending out a signal, always looking for coherence. The moment you stop broadcasting the noise of fear, scarcity, and striving, that signal becomes clear. You feel the pull. Not as an idea, but as an embodied nudge. A magnetic intelligence moving you softly but unmistakably toward people, places, decisions, and synchronicities you couldn't have predicted. You're no longer creating the path. You're aligning to the pull of a timeline already laid out, in the invisible, one that has always been waiting for you to match it. When the pull begins, it feels both surreal and obvious. Surreal because the logic of time and strategy starts to dissolve. Things happen without cause. Connections appear without effort. Insights land without analysis. Yet it also feels obvious, like a remembering. A sense of course, this is how it works. Because deep down you've always known that reality bends to frequency, not force. But most people never feel the pull. Why? Because they never stop pushing. They are so busy trying to make the future happen that they drown out the very signal that would guide them there. They fill the silence with tactics. They clutter the field with rituals. They obsess over timelines, metrics, and signs, never realizing they are anchoring themselves to the very reality they're trying to escape. You can't feel the future when you're addicted to the noise of the past. You can't be pulled into your highest timeline when your identity is still entangled with the one who's not ready. The moment you choose emotional neutrality, not excitement, not hope, but peace, the gravitational field of your future activates. Because peace is the signature of embodiment. It says to the field, I am no longer trying. And that is the most magnetic state you can offer. This is the paradox of acceleration. The faster you want it, the more still you must become. Because motion doesn't create collapse, coherence does. And coherence is a stillness that hums beneath the surface. A knowing so rooted that it doesn't flinch, chase, doesn't grasp. It simply receives the pull and responds with quiet authority. Yes, this will often require decisions that make no sense to the logical mind. You'll feel compelled to stop doing something that used to feel important. You'll feel an urge to move, to speak, to say yes to something you can't explain. This is not chaos. It's alignment. You're being led not by preference, by resonance. You'll begin to notice a new rhythm. Time feels softer. Synchronicities accelerate. People show up with messages you didn't know you needed. Paths open where resistance once stood. You are no longer pushing to reach your future. You are responding to its pull. In that response, you collapse timelines that would have taken years to navigate through strategy alone. This is the frequency of inevitability. It is not loud, it is not dramatic. It is subtle, precise, undeniable. Once you taste this level of alignment, you'll never again fall for the old model of trying harder. Because now you know. The moment you surrender your identity as the one who is waiting, you begin to embody the one who is being chosen by the future. Not because you deserved it, but because you matched it. And when you match